Hey everybody, it's Fruit of Atheism, and I made a thing. I call it the In Case We Missed It form, and it's not just something that will help me. It might, could, should, but it's also there for the entire community. The brief rundown, if I change to my other screen, the basic rundown is I have a form and it dump stuff from whatever you put it in the form into a nice little sheet, which you can um, access through the link from the sheet as well, of course. But yeah, the basic rundown of the sheet is it's useful to store all those glorious moments. Um, Now, with those glorious moments, I mean more from our little corner of the YouTube G Plus community than in general, but I wouldn't mind if somebody puts in a general glorious moment, as I dubbed it. For example, if you want to um, add the part where I was granting permits to acquire or carry guns in public to people who are legally or completely blind, there's probably room for that. It's probably better to put it just on your G+. It's more for something you can actually tie to someone. So, take for example the gay marriage declared legal across the US in historic Supreme Court ruling and confer it with the fun from Brian Fisher that came out afterwards on Twitter, like from a moral standpoint. 626 is now our 9/11. Um, Not even mentioning that. That would be more appropriate for, you know, the fact that it ties somebody's thing to some state of affairs. Um, but obviously, it's more for our little corner of the YouTube Google Plus. And by that, I don't necessarily mean it's only limited to our interlocutors and, well, what have you, clowncore posse. If you, for example, want to throw in something like the air quote joke of Chaswold Almighty that G-Man left Alex Button, there's room for that. The thing I would like whenever you add something is that you add a timestamp. Of course, not needed when it's referring to text comments, which you can also do. But that's kind of what makes it easier as sifting through 8 hour long hangouts. There are only a handful of required things, like actually putting in a description and stuff. But before I jump down to that, um, as I put in a long description, it's not too limited to just the nonsense. Feel free to put in any glorious moment, relatively unbiased. The moderation will also be pretty much unbiased as possible. I will only remove actual spam. And by spam, I mean actual spam, not the fact that somebody puts in 100 glorious moments in a day, whatever. Feel free to do so. I could toss in well, I actually already have, as you can see here, but I could toss in the example of Matt Bell, who first wanted to talk about his air quote defeater to solipsism, and then a few minutes later had to backpedal a little bit that it's probably not a great defeater if no philosopher has ever used it. Um, Another example I have in there is the little skit from the Atheism is Unstoppable 4 channel who's ranting and raving about getting a couple of copyright strikes, um, where, well, gloriously, he makes the statement that all he did was, well, break copyright, in other words, by uh, lifting out a section without doing stuff required for it to fall in fair use. Also, apparently, he didn't ask. Now, what makes it funny is the bazillion comments from the people who are misinformed on the current copyright status that the atheist experience is upholding. You can easily find a link. I have it in the thing. But point being, what makes it funny to add to the sheet or through the form is Matt Dillahunty's clarification and a bit of back and forth thereafter. Um, so yeah, that was that. That was that. And I have this one saved as a nice little example of how to use it. So I have the actual link, which also has the timestamp in it, but to make it really glorious in usage, please add a separate timestamp as well. So what you would do is give a rough description. So in this case, in this video, for example, Seamus alludes to a vast underground government escape network and has to backpedal a couple of minutes after that when Dragnot asks about his clearance, and a lot of fumbling and stumbling happens. The forum is set up so you can break it apart a bit if, for example, it's an hour-long back and forth. In this case, what makes it glorious is the hour before and after talking about the Ten Commandments, but go through it for yourself to see that. Of course, some other related stuff, who's involved, that's pretty much easy to fill in whenever you know whatever thing you want to contribute. And I kindly ask you to fill in the date as a mandatory field. Of course, you can just click on today instead of doing the whole drag and drop thing. This happened on the 25th, so that's good. Time is optional, but for example, if the thing is still live in some 8-hour long hangout, this is really easy to find the timestamp later on. Of course, you can add your nickname, but it's not required. So that's the really rough video showing, well, on one side, I made a thing. There is a neat little form where you can submit all your glorious moments. Well, maybe not your glorious moments, but other people's glorious moments. However to put it, I'm tempted to do something as what I just did, go over all of those glorious moments for whatever week or day or month or whatever the format will be, in some sort of the In Case You Missed It show. So I guess that's the conclusion of the beta episode of the In Case You Missed It show. Ooh, words. Feel free to share this wherever you can. because I think with not just me using it, but with a lot of other people using it, it actually um, has good potential, other as an easy place for me to find content. Hope that makes it a bit clear. Thanks for watching. Please look in the description below for the link to the form and to the sheet where you can glance through all the contributions from everybody. Other is that, um, feel free to look at my Patreon page from the description below. And as always, thanks for watching. Leave comments, leave a like, yada yada. See you next time.